Just as a disclaimer, we want you to know that some of the movies that we will be reviewing were shot in a different time and era where people of race and sex were not treated equally. We understand this and hope you do too. The movies or anything that happened on the sets are not the views of this podcast or what this show is intended to be all about.
Exactly. And we want to give due diligence in presenting the movie and not the views of the cast or directors or anyone involved. But we also feel it's necessary to let the audience know some of the background information to get a feel for what was happening at the time of shooting the film. Again, we hope you understand that we do not agree with everything that went on, and we just want to give out the information. And with that being said, hope you enjoy the show.
Look at me. What do you see in my eyes?
Death.
Do you like jewels, Lily? This is very old and very beautiful. Please don't come any closer. Is weak, Dr. Goff. Growing weaker. All your skill can't help her now. She's under a spell that can be broken only by me. Or death. I am Dracula's daughter.
Alright guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema, the Universal Monster series. If you remember back about, 2 years ago, in October now, we did start the Universal Monster series where we did Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, the Mummy, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. There's a couple, Creature from Black Lagoon. Mm-hmm. We did like 8 of them. For that month. So we thought we would do some of the lesser known Universal Monsters for this October. So today we decided to kick it off with Dracula's Daughter. I'm your host Jimbo, and today I'm joined by Kyle Zahner.
Hello everybody.
So he's stepped up to the plate to help us knock out some of these Universal Monsters, and it's some movies that he has never seen before, so that's pretty cool too.
It's been a new experience for me. It's great.
So just a little setup for this movie. We do this differently than we do our normal podcast. We actually talk through the scenes of the movie. So the thing about Dracula's Daughter is it starts right after where Dracula leaves off.
Yeah, directly,
which is very nice. But before we start diving into the plot, Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about the movie?
All right. The movie Dracula's Daughter, released on May 11th, 1936. This movie is 85 years old. Count of the things you see that date, and you're like, yep, everyone's passed away. But also, it's a older movie for sure. Box office numbers are currently unavailable. We couldn't really find anything online at the moment. Next up, we have the runtime of 71 minutes. Very brisk, even for, well, not necessarily for the time, but a brisk movie nowadays, just over an hour. Next up, with color, just black and white. Aspect ratio, we have a 1.37 by 1 aspect ratio. And then I have to block a sneeze, which is going to take a few moments here.
That's all right. I'll pause it real quick. The sneeze, that didn't happen. We are back. Okay.
All right, moving forward, we have a film length. That was 8 reels long. The negative format was 35 millimeters. The cinematographic process was spherical. And the production dates was very brisk at February 4th, 1936 to March 10th, 1936. So a little over a month till they had to basically film the entire film, then a little over a month of post-production to then release the film.
That's crazy. They filmed this whole thing in like 30 days, 35 days.
Could you, there's virtually unheard of today for films.
Well, I mean, but because CGI takes so long and all that, this was just not very many sets, you know what I mean?
And reusing plenty of old sets too.
Right.
Like basically nothing new, not in a bad way, but in a very efficient way. They're just like, this movie needs to be done. Yep. The film locale was, of course, the Universal Studios campus and all their gates and stuff like that, all their buildings. Got to reuse a lot of the stuff. And then that's it for the film technical specs. So moving on to our favorite part, the awards. Yeah. And for the awards, we have in 2018, we got the Academy of Science Fiction and Fantasy Horror Films winner for Best DVD and Blu-ray Collection for the Dracula Complete Legacy Collection. In 2015, they got the Best DVD Collection for the Monster Legacy Collection. And that is it for the awards.
Yeah, not many.
Not many, but worth noting. Like, it's, yeah. And then we move on to Kyle's favorite part, because it's always my favorite part, because I do it every time, is the cast. And we have a full, hearty, beefy cast this time around. I got as many people as I possibly. I put in the overtime work to get, double the list. So please appreciate it, because I put in way too much work on this. So first up, we have Gloria Holden playing Dracula's daughter herself. Also, the name Countess Maria Zaleska. That's a rough pronunciation. Probably have seen them. You may have seen her in films such as Wife vs. Secretary, the Corsican Brothers, and The Husketeers. Otto Kruger plays Jeffrey Garth. He was in films such as the 1952 film High Noon, 1942 film Saboteur, Covergirl, and Murder My Sweet. Next up, we have Marjonette Churchill playing Janet. She was in films such as The Big Trail, Ambassador Bill, and the 1936 original The Walking Dead. Then we have Edward Van Sloan playing the most notable character of Professor Van Helsing. You'll know him as a legendary actor of the Universal series. So he was in Frankenstein, Dracula, Mummy, and Behind the Mask. So Edward Van Sloan, just Universal mainstay for the most part. Next up, we have Gilbert Emery playing Sir Basil Humphrey. He was in films Between Two Worlds, The House of Seven Gables, and A Farewell to Arms. Next up, we have Irving Peikel playing Sander. He was in films such as Destination Moon, The Most Dangerous Game, Tomorrow is Forever, and Without Honor. Next up, Halliwell Hobbs plays Hawkins. They were in films such as Gaslight, You Can't Take It With You, To Be or Not to Be, and The Undying Monster. Furthermore, we have Billy Bevan playing Albert. He was in movies such as Vanity Fair, Another Dawn, A Tale of Two Cities, and The Rogues of Sherwood Forest. Going on, we have Nan Gray playing Lily. She was in the 1936 film Three Smart Girls, not gills. She dealt with in the fish. And 1940 film The Invisible Man Returns, and Love in a Bungalow. Going forward, we have Heidi Hopper playing Lady Esma Hammond. She was in the 1950 film Sunset Boulevard, and Men Must Fight, and The Last of Mrs. Cheney, and the 1939 film Midnight. Going on, we have Claude Allister playing Sir Aubrey. He was in films such as Bulldog Drummond at Bay, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and Platinum Blonde. Then we have Edward Norton playing Hobbs. He's most recognizable from films such as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Son of Frankenstein, Runaway Bride, and 30-Day Princess. Finally we have Edward E. Clive playing Sergeant Wilkes. He was in The Bride of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, Raffles, and The Hounds of Bakerville. And
Baskerville.
And Baskerville, correct. I gotta tear it sometimes. And that's it for the Dracula's daughter.
So, like we said, this starts off at the Dracula's crypt, if you will, I guess we'll call it. It shows them going down into the these two policemen coming down into the crypt. They see obviously Renfield's dead body laying there for where Dracula choked him out in the first movie, and they come to the bottom of the step and he's like, he's dead.
Yeah.
And then you see Van Helsing
Just casually walk up.
It's not Van in this movie. They changed it to Von Helsing.
Von Helsing.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so he
classy.
comes up and he's like, hey, this guy's dead. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, and the man that did it is in the other room. And he's like, okay. So the one guy
Just take it for your word for it. Sure, Ren guy.
So the one, he's like, you stay here and watch him. He's like, I'm going to go check this other guy. So he comes back and he goes, he's dead. He's like, there's been a stake driven through his heart. He's like, I know. He's like, I did it. He's like nonchalant. He's
not
like,
gonna say I killed the guy.
but funny, that
what are you gonna do about it?
That one police officer is like the sidekick dude. He's hilarious because he's just looking at Van Helsing, steps away
Just
from him.
flabbergasted,
Like,
completely in fear. I can't believe a dead body happened in London.
So basically, they take Von Helsing into Scotland Yard.
Yeah.
The next scene, they're in Scotland Yard and they're sitting down. Look, you admitted to killing a man. You know, he's like, of course, that's the only way to kill a vampire.
Yeah.
It's like every
I didn't
common
kill him.
knowledge.
He's been dead for 500 years. It's fine.
Right. Which that comes into play later, the 500 years. I got a question for you at the end.
Okay.
So he's like, look, you've admitted to killing this. He's like, well, just contact Dr. Carth, is it?
Dr. Carth. Yes.
Carth or Carth?
Jeffrey Carth. Dr. Jeffrey
right.
Carth.
He's like, well, he's a psychologist. He's not really a lawyer, you know. He's like, trust me. He's like, he's the only one that'll understand, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
He's like, well, I'll have these two guys go, and I told them to hold the bodies at the police precinct until the train comes tonight, and they will pick it up.
Yeah.
So now you see these two guys at the police. I call it a police precinct, but it's like one room.
The holding area, yeah.
Right. And you see the two coffins there. One's Renfield's and one is Dracula's that is going to be sent back to wherever. So they're sitting there, and he's like, well, you need to stay here and guard the bodies. And he's like, I got to go meet the train. He's like, why don't you go meet the train? You know,
I go watch somebody.
Yeah, he's like, because you don't have the stars or stripes on your jacket or whatever, you know.
You don't have the uniform, son.
He's like, you can't go meet Scotland Yard. And he's like, what was that? You know, and he hears a scratching noise. So he goes into there, and he's looking at the coffins and nothing. And then he looks on the ground, and there's this like
trimmer thing.
It looks like Bugs Bunny coming under the thing,
like a rabbit digging in the soil.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, he comes out. He's like, whoa. He's like, I'm not going there. He's like, there's like rats or something in there. And he's like,
there's no rats in Scotland Yard.
Right. He's like, well, then you go in there and look. So he goes in there and looks, and now it's like a big burrow. Like it's like moving the whole earth underneath.
Yeah.
And my question to you, Kyle, is the rest of this movie. It doesn't say what this is.
Yeah, I really not sure.
The only thing that comes to my mind is that is actually Dracula's daughter coming under the ground. But that doesn't make sense because when she pops up at the door right as soon as they go back in, she's in full black, no dirt anywhere. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those mysteries that
I just saw this the first time, just literally the night before. So I took it to think like it's like some tangible part of Dracula escaping, like whatever kind of essence he has, that's him escaping the body, like the demonic or something like that form or something like that. Some kind of idea of that was it escaping, the monstrous form escaping, like to some degree. That was my interpretation of it. Not if there's much to interpret. But yeah, you're right. They never really explain it either.
Right. So Dracula's daughter shows up and she basically casts a spell on the remaining guards.
I believe
she's
Sergeant Wilkes, yeah.
She's like, hey, look at my ring. You know, and she looks at his ring, and he goes straight to hypnotization, and he basically, the next thing you see him sitting at a desk, like staring off into space, and the other sergeant comes back with Scotland Yard or whoever it is, the train conductor, and just basically touches him, and he's like,
him on the shoulder, and then he just falls over,
like he's asleep.
Comatose,
right? So then you see Dracula's daughter. She's like outside somewhere. I don't want to say cemetery, but she's got like Dracula's body there, and she's burning it. She's like, look, maybe I can finally be free of this curse. I don't want to be a part of this bloodline anymore. You know, you've cursed us all. And so she sets fire to it, and she's like, maybe now I can be free.
Yeah.
And her I call him her henchman. He kind of looks like Mo from the Three Stooges. You know, just
he does.
Big one.
Yeah.
Now, do you think he is a mortal human?
Yes.
Because later on in the movie, we'll get there, but do you think he's mortal at this point?
Yes. At this point, yeah, I kind of gathered that. I think I figured he's basically a familiar, basically. Yeah.
Because the reason I say that is because every time that she goes back to her house, he's always the one that closes the coffin, pulls the curtain, shuts the door. You know? And it's really, really interesting movie because this movie deals more with the psychological aspects of being a monster than actually is scaring. There is a few scares in it, but it's a different type of monster movie.
Yeah, and it's like escaping the sins of the father, trying not to be judged by where you came from, but who you want to be,
right?
And those kind of ideas.
And she had good intentions.
Yeah.
But
still kind of fell.
She really went into it. She really turned.
Yeah.
At the end,
it's one of those things like it has some lofty ideas, but then kind of like fails execution in so many ways. But that's getting ahead of myself.
So she's trying to fight this about feeding because she's talking to her henchman and she's like, "I can live a normal life now because Dracula's dead. I've burned his body.
Yeah,
I'm human." Basically.
I figure like, burning Dracula's body was the way of purifying her soul where she could be a normal human again.
So she starts playing the piano, and she goes, "Hey, isn't this lovely?" He's like, "It sounds like death to me."
It's full of darkness in your soul. That's what the piano sounds like. It's so cruel.
Right,
He's a harsh critic.
But that's something else, like when she's burning his body, she looks back at the flame. I thought that bright light would be something that would affect her. But
some kind of significance. But yeah.
But I guess the night before this, she actually went and killed somebody, I guess is what they're referring back to here.
Yeah, so they drained another young man or something like that. Of like,
and she's like, he's like, the wolves are about and all that, you know what I mean? And you think, hey, do I need to go get this? Do I need to go that? He's like, look, he's like, hey, you want to go outside? Basically. And she's like, I'm not afraid. And he's like, that music doesn't speak of release. It means you're still under the power of whatever you are, the curse or whatever.
That familiar is essentially calling her bluff that she wants to believe that she's purified, but deep down she knows she's still a vampire.
And he's like, she's just freaking out, man. Like, oh, I can't take it. I thought I was done. Now I got to keep going on and on. And this is where she goes out into the night, I do believe. And it's really cool because it's like set in what'd you call it, like an old time London.
I don't remember the exact timeline of the film, but essentially it is like definitely an older film.
She is in Britain because but then she goes out there and she follows this guy with a top hat and cane, and she's in her little black cloak, just everything's covered but her eyes. And she basically hypnotizes him, and she comes back, and she's just distraught because she just killed another person and sucked their blood dry.
I can't believe it happened again. Like, he tripped and I fell, and all of a sudden my fangs were in his neck.
And he's like, hurry, it's almost daylight, we got to get you in your thing. And she's just, like, she's so upset, like, I can't believe I did this.
So perturbed.
I just noticed that. She took her ring off. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't notice that. Huh.
I didn't. And he hands it to her.
She hands it off.
Yeah.
Part of her equipment, her repertoire, her Batman gear.
So basically, she climbs into her coffin, shuts the lid, and the guy, pulls the curtains and closes the door. So now we know she's still cursed. And so now they go and they're doing an autopsy on the body from last night that she had just killed.
Yeah.
And
and I believe they refer to it as like a double transfusion or something like that.
Yeah. And he's like, it says, when did he have the last revision? He's like, 4 hours ago before he died. And he's like, yeah, but what do you think about these two marks on his neck? You know what I mean? Like, you think they would have known who Dracula is by now.
Yeah.
Since he wreaked havoc.
For 500 years in this local area.
Right.
You think they'd be used to seeing bodies? Maybe that's it. They just sort of,
well, he's not usually in this area. He's usually in Transylvania.
Yeah,
but he did come here.
Yeah. Huh, this is the thousandth body we have of spontaneous blood loss and two marks in her neck. Weird.
So then we move on to the scene where you meet Dr. Garth and that his significant other, if you will. She's kind of annoying in this movie.
Yes, like a bashful, loving secretary, like plays many hats that don't.
Yeah,
like they don't all congeal into one good role. It just feels like she serves the plot in a bad way every single scene she's in. From the way I kind of saw it,
and she's like, Jeffrey, you got a call from Scotland Yard or whatever. And he's like, well, what's going on? She's like, well, it's Professor, it's Von Helsing. You know, he's in trouble that he killed a man or whatever. He's like, I can't. He's like, I am here on a hunt. You know, I can't just leave. And he's like, you got to go. Scotland's card killing him. He's like, I didn't kill anybody. She's like, no, but Van Helsing did. Or Von Helsing.
Professor Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Von Helsing.
So he's like, no, he's in Budapest. Nope, he's in London. You know.
Yeah,
and
he needs your help.
Yeah. So basically, he's like, well, gentlemen, I'm gonna have to leave. I got to go help a friend, if you will. Which Van Helsing and him must have been pretty good friends because he doesn't hesitate to go. That's one thing I noticed.
Serving them an early, like an idol, if it's not an idol, or when you study under someone, like a journeyman, someone like some sort of, but that kind of role he had in his life. Originally.
Right. So we're back to Scotland Yard, and Gaft and Van Helsing are talking. He's like, look, there's not a jury here in Scotland that is going to believe your story about him being a vampire.
Yeah, your defense can't just be he was a vampire. No, you have to have something a little more concrete.
So he tells him, he's like, hey, if there's a way to clear you, I'll help you get clear. He's like, I'll state my my face against facts or whatever. So
yeah.
And this next scene, they were having like a dinner party. I don't know if they ever asked or said what the party was about.
No, but it just happens, you know. It was the 30s. They just had dinner parties.
So the Countess comes to this party, and Janet's like, "Oh, it's the Hungarian lady I knew about." Mm-hmm. And she's like, "My friend, my dear, how sweet of you to come."
The Hungarian friend I always had, yeah.
And he's kind of mesmerized by it. He's like, "Don't you know?" The lady's like, "Don't you know it's not polite to stare at strangers?" And
yeah. But he's clearly, he knows that there's something like transfixing her about her, alluring, you know, to some degree. It kind of falls into like some of the tropes of vampire seductress kind of ideas.
And this is where you start really seeing the humanity of Dracula's daughter, because she sits down and says, "Look, I need your help. I hear you're a psychologist." She says, basically, do you believe that
these curses could be undone by like psychiatric therapy, basically,
right?
Of like, if I believe it, it'll be true,
right? But she's hinting around the fact, but he doesn't know that she's an undead, which is very interesting. She's like, "Please, you know, you're the only one that can help me," which I thought was very interesting. And you know, Janet, she's just getting mad because she's taking up a lot of his time. You know what I mean? And they start talking about the vampire case and all that, and Count Dracula's name comes up, and Van Helsing's name comes up, and they're talking about how he died with a stake through his heart. And
clearly she knows the whole story at this point, so she just doesn't know what to say.
Yeah, and I don't think she really wants to say anything because she doesn't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
But now she knows that, what's his name, Garth? Yeah.
Jeffrey Garth.
Now she knows that he's on the case, so this is dangerous for her.
What was once just a social gathering or perhaps a victim hunt is now become a lot more entangled of like she realized that she's deeply involved with these people before she even knew it. You know? So it's just proceeding forward, and she's trying to...
very, very entwined in this conversation.
Inquisitive, trying to get all...
You know, there may be things here that you need to look beyond as a psychiatrist that's more than meets the eye in these situations.
Yeah.
So basically, she's like, "Hey, can I see you again?" or whatever, and then you have Janice. This lady, you know, is always trying to tie his tie and all that. And he's like, "Look, I can meet you for tomorrow or something." You know what I mean? We can discuss this for, you know, maybe like during the day. And she's like, "No, we got to do it at night." You know,
yeah, it's such a... Like I know something felt like she just serves the role she needs to at any given scene. Like sometimes she's like a bashful secretary, other times she's like a pestering love life, and then another time she's just like a juvenile delinquent making prank calls, and it's just so weird.
Right. So this is where they actually have their one-on-one meeting, and he's like, "This is weird." He's like, "Usually a girl like you, there's usually like 20 mirrors in a room like this, and she doesn't have a single room." Mm-hmm. Which, of course, to vampire lore, knows that a vampire will not see the reflection in a mirror.
Yeah. Despair invisible.
So she's even, you know, she's even saying, look, you know, according to the Hungarian legend, you know, a vampire will not cast their shadow.
Yeah.
And then here comes old Mo, the thing.
Yeah.
So he's getting a telephone call at the Countess's house, and this is, I think, where Janet's playing a trick on him, isn't she?
Yes.
And I would be so mad. He's so mad at this point. Or is this... No, yeah, this is her.
This is the prank call, yeah.
Well, because they call back, but it's not her.
Yeah, the other professor calls, I believe.
She said, this is the zoo speaking.
The zoo.
He's like, zoo? What zoo? So one of our elephants is seeing pink men. I was like, this is like crazy.
Such a random, almost slapstick scene, and otherwise like fairly serious movie.
Yeah, he's like, just stay off. This isn't funny anymore. He's like, that's it.
Yeah, and I think like, is in this moment, is she an adult or is she like a 13-year-old girl? What is she trying to do?
She kind of reminds me of Kyle of the podcast.
Yeah, painfully immature, unprofessional, and can't pronounce names to save her life.
Right. So here she is. So she says, look, I asked you here tonight because I need your help. And he's like, as a psychiatrist, she's like, well, as a man of strength and courage, yeah. And he's like, well, I guess,
Yeah. Can I thank the vampires and Ray Doctor? Tell me.
Do you believe that the dead can influence the living? And he's like, well, he's asking her, well, what way? He's like, could you conceive of a superhuman mentality influencing someone else from the other side of us? So basically, she's trying to ask him, hey, do you think my dad can influence me beyond his death?
Keep me being a vampire,
Right.
or possibly get rid of my vampirism. Yeah,
or something that suppresses her to keep in her.
Yeah, clearly an ulterior motive of just trying, like, not just discovery, but trying to find a way to.
Which I really like
save
because it's different than what you would think of a Dracula movie. They're just like bloodthirsty animals. But even Dracula himself was very. What's the word I'm looking for?
It's
smart,
rare.
I guess is the word.
Yeah. And it's very rare to have, like, usually the trope of vampirism is that all vampires love being vampires. Like, they just, like, it's the best thing in the world. But in this case of Dracula's daughter, she's very clearly, like, she's not outright admitting to it, but she wants to repent and get rid of her vampirism or something like that. She wants to cure herself of this. If she could, she would. And that's an unusual trope in modern vampirism, especially.
So he's like, look, the next time you face this, he's like, just fight it, greet it and fight it, and she's like, oh, like life against death, which is kind of symbolic, being, hey, I'm undead and these people I'm killing are alive.
Yeah.
He's like, sure, I'll help you. She's like, you got to help me. She's like, your strength against his. And he's kind of confused right now. He's like, I have no idea what you need. And then here comes, we'll call him Lurch from here on out.
Lurch, yeah.
He's like, I got another phone call.
Lurch.
He's like, no, it's a man this time. He says it's important. So this is where he gets mad, dude. He walks in there. Oh, it's got some comedic parts, even though it's not meant to be funny. I still cracked up at several parts. He's like, he can help me. Sandor is his name.
Yeah.
He said, now look here, I'm tired of being annoyed after office hours. If you don't stop calling me, I'm coming over there, and regardless of your sex, I think he said, I'm going to smack you in the nose. So, and this guy on the other end, he's like,
never.
This is Dr. Beamish.
Dr. Beamish. What a great name.
Yeah, it's great. He's like, oh, is this the zoo again calling? He's like, I beg your pardon.
How dare you?
He's like, I'm at St. Mary's Hospital. I was like, oh. He's like, oh, man, I made a mistake.
I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, he's like, oh, no. He's like, I'm calling about Lady, whoever she is. He's like, I want you to go see her immediately.
As if your condition is to do so. Oh, yes, right, yo, doctor. I'll head right over there. I'm British.
Right.
Toodaloo.
So he's basically going to leave her at this point and go take care of his the patient he had to go see or whatever. And he's like, Sandor's like, hey, we going out on the town again, basically, to get another thing. She's like, no, I'm going to go paint. I'm going to the studio.
It's time to paint. And
this is really weird right here, because this is probably the most controversial part of the movie that we're going to talk about, and we're just going to touch on it. We're not going to go into detail.
Too deep, yeah.
But there's this, I don't know what you want to call her, but I don't want to say homeless girl, but she's
a vagabond, maybe.
Maybe, and she's on the street. She's nicely well dressed, and he's like, look, he thinks she's going to jump over the side of this. She's suicidal, and she's going to jump over this bridge. He's like, look, the river's cold and dark. He's like, I know a place where you can get warm and get some food and a lot of money. And she's like, I don't want any money. He's like, my lady's, my mistress is an artist. She'll pay you tonight. He's like, there's nothing to fear. Of course, little does she know.
Everything to fear.
But I thought that was very interesting that he left to go hunt on his own because he knew she couldn't fight this thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very key thing. So she gets brought back to the thing. He closes the door to her studio, and she's just looking at her like, don't be afraid, my dear. I'm just going to paint. She's like, I'm not afraid of you, ma'am. He's like, that guy was a little creepy. You know?
Yeah.
So she basically, says, hey, warm yourself by the fire, ask her name, gives her I think a sandwich. So you can tell the struggle, and she's like, you got beautiful hands. Dracula's daughter, I forget her, Maurice or...
Maria Sleska.
Yeah, Maria. And she's like...
Maria, possibly.
You can tell she's struggling, like... She's setting up the plot to eat her.
Yeah.
You can
She's
tell.
trying to contain her bloodlust.
Right. So Sandor brings in a tray of food and wine, it looks like, or water. It's wine, I think.
It's wine.
And so her name's Lily. It's like, help yourself. So you can tell she's hungry, man. She just starts diving in,
No second thoughts, just going right for it.
So the lady, Dracula's daughter, asked her, hey, have you ever modeled before? She's like, I'm doing a study of a young girl's head and shoulders, which is funny in itself if you think about it.
In hindsight, especially.
Yeah. So she said, you can go get ready behind that screen over there. She's like, all right, thank you.
I'm down, whatever. I'm already in, why not?
So basically, she takes off her hat and she says, hey, I suppose you want my... she's taking off her shirt. For 1936, this is probably very...
risque.
Yeah. And Dracula's daughter's just looking at her. She's like, I'm ready now. And she comes over and looks at her. And she's like, I suppose you want these pulled down, which is her bra straps, I guess, or slip strips, or slip straps. So she's holding it up to her chest, and she's like, here, finish your wine. It'll warm you. So she's trying to get her blood warmed up because she's been out in the cold, I think.
Yeah. So
she's like, go over there, stand by the fire. You know what I mean? She's like setting her up.
My meal, please.
She's like, you can't catch a cold. Don't catch a cold. You mustn't catch a cold. So she turns around and looks at her, and she's just staring at her. She's like, why are you looking at me like this? What did I do? Or am I not good enough, basically? She's like, oh, yeah, you'll do very well indeed. So she's like, do you like jewels, Lily? This is very old and very beautiful. So she holds up the ring, and it's pretty cool. The lighting reflection goes right on her eye.
Clearly indicating that it's transfixing her. And
she said, I don't
stance.
think I'll pose tonight. I think I'll go if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And she's like, don't come any closer. Don't come any closer. And she slowly starts screaming up. And then, here's what I don't understand. She screams.
Yeah.
Are they not in an apartment? You know what I mean? I think it's above above a library or antique bookstore or antique shop at the end. It shows you.
I would think there's some degree of privacy. They already, like, Sandor would already prepare for that in their next, wherever they went to.
But, and then they show her being stretchered out. Mm-hmm. The thing I find interesting about that one than the one before is she doesn't kill this one.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, she doesn't actually die. She's in a perpetual state of shock, basically.
Yeah, we'll say.
Yeah.
So then he goes back to the office, I think, and
Garfield does.
And that was very childish of you for calling about the zoo. And she's like I was just having a little fun. And she's like, well, what about my phone? It was ringing off every half hour. And he's like, I told the nurse to do it. Just a little payback.
So they're definitely both juvenile. They're both fools for each other.
Yeah, you did this to me, I did this for you. And she's like, here's my resignation, accepted. And he's like, accepted with the most pleasure. Mm-hmm. And see, he has like...
I get the sense they go through this routine every week too of her quitting and
he must be at the hospital or whatever because she's like, hey, I need you to come to room 32 to look at this. Nurse walks in and say, I need you to come look at this patient 32.
Yeah.
And one thing we'll touch on here in a minute, I don't think it's quite yet, is the hypnotizing machine. Very old school hypnotizing machine.
Yeah, it's definitely old school.
Yeah. So they come in, and it's Lily sitting there, and they're like, "Look, they got a strange case here, doctor. She's not moving. She's
just
apparently has amnesia.
Yeah, unresponsive."
And they said, "Well, what treatment has she had?" And they said 2 infusions. So, she's been sucked almost to the point of death. The blood because she's had to get 2 transfusions. So he's looking in her eyes and he's looking at everything and he's like he can't tell anything and he's like it's not amnesia or if it's not amnesia what do you think it is? And they're like, well, it's post-hypnosis.
Yes.
Right. They said they picked her up near a cruising scene, rambling, incoherent talk, and spoke of a woman. She said something about blood, then she lapsed into unconsciousness. So this is the first time that that she may have been alive. Not alive, but she may have been It's the first time that they've hinted that she was alive during the feeding process, I guess, and not hypnotized.
Not fully hypnotized, somewhat, resistant to it at very least. And also, it's not really clear, like, was she just, like, left for dead, basically, and she made her way to the hospital, or did she actually fully escape, possibly? They never actually make that necessarily clear in the film. But I think
she was just found on the street, to the point of near death, I think they said. Mm-hmm. So they're going to give her adrenaline. I was like, oh, great.
Just shoot her up and see what she says. See what happens.
See, he's like, what do you think this is? Like, I'd rather not say until I talk to Professor Van Helsing.
Von Helsing.
Yeah, Von. So he's like, the lust of blood, the marks on the neck. You got yourself a vampire here, basically, is what he says.
I guess it could be that one thing I've been telling you about this entire movie. Maybe.
Right. So he's basically saying, look, I think we have, Dracula's body's disappeared. Then this evidence says that he's not dead at all. He's like, no vampire can survive a stake through the heart. No, none of them. He's like, well, then what's happening? He's like, well, you tell me, you find these places here, you find these places here, then you can find where your vampire is triangularly located, if you will. We can hunt her down or them down.
Triangulate where they're at, yeah. Triangulation, find the best possible place for them.
So they're coming up with a plan. And then this lady,
Janet. Yeah, I know.
And she's like, well, who's going to tie your tie? He's like, I'll have the nurse tie my tie. And this nurse, she's like...
she's the one nurse in the 1930s who doesn't know how to tie a tie.
Yeah. And she's up there, her hand shaking, and she's like,
oh boy, what do you do?
The short end goes over the loops. Yeah. Oh, she's like, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's like she's just trying to not figure out how to tie. Like, you do it enough times, accidentally, you'll solve the tie.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
She's like, here, just for goodness sakes, just let me do it.
I'll tie your tie for you.
So, he's I think he's on his way to go meet her again, isn't he?
I believe so, yeah. She's going to go meet Dracula's daughter.
This is the follow-up.
The Countess.
So the follow-up to meet the Countess. And he's like, hey, why didn't you tie my tie like this last night? Because he was struggling the whole entire time.
Oh, gosh.
So the Countess walks in. Notice how she just walks in. And he's like, hey, good evening, Miss Blake. Is Dr. Arthur? And she's like, nope. He's not here. So he's just left. And she's like, oh. She's so disappointed.
Oh, no.
And she's like, hey, can I go to supper now, doctor? So she knows that Janet had just lied to her.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And she's like, why was it necessary to lie to me? And she's like, oh, well, he's my man. Yeah, so basically. So she goes into the study and shuts the door. And he's like, Countess Alaska, what are you doing here? She's like, I had to come.
You had to give me a vampirism, please.
You said you would help me.
Yes.
She's like, you're trembling. Your hands are like ice.
Because she's dead.
Well, right. So there comes a point in this movie, and I think you're getting ready to see it here, where the transition from her being, hey, I'm trying to get out of my family business,
yeah,
to you're going to be my husband. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Very soon.
Yeah.
He's like,
very casual escalation.
She's like, I have nothing to look forward to. She's like, everything I do is horror, basically. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? He's like, you got to control. And if you want me to believe you, then I need you to be 100% honest with me. So she said, when you left, I decided to try what you said and put myself to the test. She said, I couldn't do it. I failed.
I failed, yes.
Yeah.
By the way, I happen to be like a nearly half dead woman to the hospital recently. Too unrelated, I'm just asking.
But is it really a fail? She didn't kill her? I don't know.
It shows some restraint. Maybe she had have to improvement.
He's like, just tell me. She's like, I can't. It's too gross and ghastly. And he's like, I have something here for that. Maybe it'll help steady your nerves. And the thing is, he goes over to this ancient hypnotic machine. And he's like, hey, the mirrors in this machine. And she's like, no,
I'm out. And it turns out I didn't need this help. I'm sorry. Changed my mind. No. She's like, first anti-vaxxer.
So he's like, hey, just like this little shines against the disc. and it's reflected by mirrors. And she's like, whoop, her eyes are like, nope,
Nope. I'm good.
She's like, she's trying to explain, like, it's too late for experiments. And she's like, I came here to ask you to go with me. To go with you. She's like, yes, tonight, to the continent. I was like, oh, wow. So they're going all the way to Europe, back to Transylvania. Mm-hmm. She's like, but you got to do this for me. She's like, I'll make any concession you want. I just need you to go with me. She's like, I can't do that. That's impossible. I'm a doctor. And she's like, you're a great doctor, a doctor of minds. I need you, Dr. Garth. I need you. I need you to
problem I can always relate to. Beautiful women turn up, like, please come away with me. And
he's like, he's basically like, how can I trust you when you're concealing the truth from me? She's like, but I've told you everything I can tell you for now. Mm-hmm. Please don't press me further. He's like, you've told me nothing, basically. So then the telephone rings again. Why is the telephone always interrupting this stuff? So I think this is where he says, hey, your dinner's ready. Done it. Oh, no, the girl is ready. Yeah,
ready.
The one
not dinner. Dinner for the vampire.
Yeah. The girl that was dinner.
Yeah.
So he takes his machine. He's like, look, I got to take this machine down to this. He's like, I want you to wait right here for me.
Yes,
I think he's on to her right here at this point of the movie. And he's
has some suspicions.
I want you to sit down very calmly and make your mind exactly that you're going to tell me the whole truth, the entire truth. Don't leave anything out.
Nothing but the truth.
Right. And it says, when I come back, we'll decide what we can do, what can be done, if anything can be done. He's like, but I got to go see this patient. And he's like, I wouldn't plan on leaving London tonight if I were you. You know what I mean? So basically he's like, hey, we're on to you. Don't be leaving. The Scotland Yard's going to be on you. And so she's like, well, I'll leave and you'll go with me. Oh. I was like, man. So now she's went full-fledged. She's basically turned into her dad at this point. And this is what she looks out the window and there's old Mo in the car. Hey, I see you. Yeah. So this is where I think Janet walks back into the room, and Sandor comes in, and
Janet, yeah,
and he basically, she says, and she's like, hey, he'll be back. But where is he? Well, he'll be back. She's like, well, sit down and talk to me. She's like, I'm sure we have nothing to suffer, Collins, Alaska. And she's like, well, we might talk to Dr. Garth. He's interested in both of us.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. He's
Women
like,
can't be friends.
So see, Janet's really upset that he's spending so much time with her, and she thinks he's infatuated with her. So here comes Sandor. Everybody just walks into this place like nothing.
Nobody knocks anymore.
So he walks in, and she starts like, oh, what's this? And he's like, take her to the car. Go out the window. Which, okay.
Probably just walk her back too, just easily.
Right. So now they're in there and they got the hypnotic machine out on poor Lily.
After they just fill her with adrenaline too, and like that, they drugged her out and put him in front of a mirror. Like, okay, let's find out what she knows.
Right.
Like this is highly scientific.
It's very interesting. She's like, hey, that light's hurting my eyes. So I was kind of wondering if she was already turning into the vampire.
I think there's still factoring in the idea of like it's about sunlight, not necessarily lights like candlelight or something like that. But
you think so?
It could be. I'm not sure.
But my thing is, how long would it take her to turn into a vampire once she has been bitten like that?
This is kind of feels like before a lot of the rules were written, so they kind of played fast and loose with those things. So it's just like, I really don't know.
The rules always change. I think in the first one he even turned into a wolf, if I remember right.
Yeah, it happens to the best of them. Happened to me too one time.
You never see the Countess turn into a bat or anything too. So I thought that was kind of disappointing. But
missed opportunities.
So he's like, look,
we gotta remake it.
I want you. He's got this machine turned on, staring her in the face, the mirrors, the lights.
Remember. The 5th of September. Show
me the pictures in your mind. You gotta tell me everything. You can see them only if you try. You gotta try. And he's like begging her, please help us out. We're trying to help you find out who did this to you. And she's like, no. She's like, I can't. And then she starts screaming, no. And then she hops up. And he's like, hey, there's nothing to be afraid of. You're surrounded by friends and doctors.
Yeah, we're here to help you. Don't worry.
We're gonna protect you.
Nothing bad will happen to you. I promise.
She's like, take it away from my eyes. He's like, it hurts. He's like, the light? She's like, the ring on your hand.
Mm-hmm. So clearly, she's remembering that, how the Countess used the ring to try and hypnotize her, but it also kind of failed. She said,
whose hand? And he's like, the lady's hand, or your hand, madam. And she's like, pose. She's like, I think I'll go. She's like, please let me out, please. She's like, where are you? And she says, you remember now. Or he says, and she's like, your studio. So she's starting to give him a little bit of information at this point of the movie. And she's like, where are you? And he says, in Chelsea. So, hey, we're right here. He's like, I know that. He's like, whereabouts in Chelsea? You know, I used to live close by there. He's like, you got to tell me.
Yeah.
And this point, she's like, the bookshop's closed. So it was a bookshop.
Oh, okay, yes.
And it says, I don't want to go up those dark stairs. So she went up the stairs. Basically, she's recounting of, hey, let go of my arm, you're hurting me. So this is probably where Sandor's dragging her up the stairs.
Yep.
And then she sets up and slowly goes back down, and the collapse. So technically, if you want to get all technical about it, Garth killed her.
Pretty much. Drugged her up, got information possibly could, and then she died from giving the shock.
And he's like, she's dead.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, what did I do? He's like, I know exactly where to find the one who's responsible. So he knows who it is. He goes back to the room to talk to her, and gone.
Oh, she's gone. I could not have seen it's coming.
And if you notice this, watch the wind just kind of blows through the window here in a second. Just ta-da!
Yeah.
You know, I was like,
where could she have gone?
And watch, he doesn't shut the window when he leaves. He just looks out. I remember this. He just looks out. Hey, I don't see anybody. And we'll just leave the window open and walk away. And I was like, oh, the electricity. I'm not heating the whole Transylvanian Scotland Yard neighborhood.
Exactly.
So now his
boiler bill.
He goes to the bookshop in Chelsea, and the guy's getting ready to leave because it is closed now. And he said, "Hey, something about upstairs. Do you have a room above the apartment above this or whatever?" And he's like, "This is funny." Yeah, he's like closing for the night. He's like, "Scotland Yard." He's like, "Well, that's different."
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, Scotland Yard, of course.
Yeah. So basically, he's like, I'm looking for this lady. He's like, there was a woman with a place on the 3rd floor. He's like, but that ain't her name, but there's some strange goings on up there. So I don't know if he's heard the screams up there or bumps in the night or whatever. And he's like, hey, I got to use your telephone again. The telephone plays a vital role. It should have had its own cast.
It was practically main character.
One of the players, yeah. So now he calls the Scotland Yard guy. The guy's in bed, and it's this guy, he's like, hey, Dr. Garth's here on the wire. He doesn't say the phone. The wire.
The wire.
He's like, yes. And Hobbs, he's like, just look here. So he's like, hello, and he's like, Jeffrey, yes, what is? He's like, basically, hey, I need you, and I need Von Helsing, and I need you immediately. And here's the address. I need you to come down there. He's like, why on earth are you doing in Chelsea in the middle of at this time of night? I'm in bed. Yeah. I'm in my pajamas. He's like, oh, vampires, that's right. They only come out at night, Yeah. He's like, no, please, hurry. He's like, all right, I'll get there as soon as possible.
Fine, I'll get my vampire hunting gear. I'll get out of bed, my PJs.
And he's like, and he basically closes it, so...
Who brings your butler to bed like that? I don't even know anymore. It's one of the things you look back and then you're like, they were really good friends. It's like, really? Okay.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going out after vampires night. I'll be home late, basically. And he's like, vampires, sir? He's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah, vampires. I'm going to take my pistol. Ha ha ha.
He's like, I always understood that you went after them with checkbooks. That was funny, I mean. Yeah. It's always the butler or the maids that are the funniest people in these things.
They get the wittiest dialogue. Same thing in Batman.
Yeah. So basically now you have... a
shot of a ringing doorbell, and Garth is about to arrive.
Garth goes up to the
apartment above the bookstore,
and it is wiped out. Mm-hmm. There is nothing.
Yeah, completely deserted.
So he goes, looks at a couple things. He sees like the back bedroom. I guess this is like, is this her studio he's in now? Maybe.
Yeah. It's actually probably where her bedroom was.
But look, the candles are still lit. Oh, there she is.
There's the Countess appearing from thin air.
She's like, I knew you would come, but it took you a little longer than I expected, so I tidied the place up.
Yeah.
She's like, look, I told you I'm leaving tonight, and you're going to come with me. And he's like,
it's a little possessive, but okay.
No, I'm not. He's like, you're going to come with me to Scotland Yard, and she's like, I think not, sir. She's like, the girl that you brought here last night, well, she's dead. She's like, oh, well, that's a pity.
Yeah. Well, who killed her? Like, how'd she die?
She says,
I killed her. Well, you killed her.
She seems so healthy. She must work out. It's like, look,
What a funny vampire.
You're not a policeman, you're just sometimes. She's like, but you can still help me. She says, and you shall. So basically, she's becoming demanding. He's like, I think you're insane. She's like, well, I'm desperate, brother. He's like, enlist your aid in freeing me of the curse of the Draculas. So she wants to still be free from this curse, and she thinks he's the only one that can do it. She's like, I am Dracula's daughter.
Yeah.
Now, I'll get to that at the end. So he's like, hey, yeah, well, Miss Blake, Janet. He's like, do you know where she is? She's like, yes, Sir Aubrey's Bedford's. And she said, are you quite sure? She's like, I'm positive. She returned to your study after you left. So she said, we talked about for long. So she's lying to him to get him out of there to go check on her. And he's like, I don't believe you. She's like, why don't you telephone and find out? Which is funny.
Yeah. Back to
like,
the
telephone plays another vital role. So he's like, there's one right there. So she calls and talks to, who is it, the nurse, I think?
I believe so, yes, the nurse.
No, he calls like the party place, don't he? Like down in...
We will find out.
Yeah,
it is a party place, yes.
He said, pretty soon, is Janet there? And he's like, nope. She phoned about half an hour ago. And he's like, what? He said, she did what? He's like, she phoned about a half an hour ago, sir. Said she was meeting you somewhere in Chelsea of all places. Some studio or other. I say, what's it about? Have you found a better party to go to? And this is where Zaleska has found a way to just leave. And she's nowhere to be seen. Mm-hmm. So, except she drops her purse, or Janet's purse, one of the two.
Yeah, I believe it's Janet's purse. Yeah. She wants to goad him on.
So he knows that Janet was there. He's like, look, I need you. She's taking Janet. We got to go back to basically Transylvania. And Van Helsing is like, Dracula's daughter? He's like, look, stop playing games with me. He's like, if you wake me up in the middle of the bed and out of my bed and get me out here in the middle of the night to come down here and talk about vampires of Dracula, he's like, this is no hoax.
This is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. So she asks, he's leaving London, and he's like, well, where is she going? He's like, well, I examined her traces, and she still insists. She said she'd force me. She's like, now that she got a hold of Janet, basically Janet's in danger. I think I'll know what happened. I have to get to her. She's like, no. She's like, she wants to control you. Van Helsing's like, she wants to control you. She's not going to hurt Janet.
Yeah.
She wants you. So basically, he says, send out the alarm to Scotland Yard to stop everything, all the boats, planes, trains, everything.
Automobiles. Yeah. Good movie.
He's like, I think she went to Russell. She said, no. She's slipping out of England tonight. There's only one place she'll go, and that is the castle in Transylvania, which is her family castle, if you remember the first movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's like, hey, give me everybody. We got a general broadcast, and this is pretty cool. So you hear the Morse code. It's in London.
Travel montage.
It's got papers out. Be on the lookout for this missing lady. Shows them like doing the wanted posters, which is pretty cool.
Pretty excellent montage work especially for the time. Like even holds up again today. And we also get we're also leading up to the amazing set work of the Castle of Transylvania, which I love dearly. I think it looks amazing.
Oh yeah. So basically, I think we're back in the Scotland Yard studio, if you will.
Yeah.
And Van Helsing's like just sleeping in a chair. The other guy's got a cigarette lit. Fell asleep in a chair.
Both waiting for news, basically. And then Jeffrey Garth walks back in. All right, I'm ready.
No, that's not Garth, is it?
Oh, isn't that
no, Garth has already
Garth
has already taken off on the plane.
Garth was on his way. This is the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Garth was there.
He's like, well, I don't know, sir. He went away somewhere in his car. So the phone rings, and I think this is where they say, hey, there's this airplane was leaving.
That Countess Maria escaped already, but also that Jeffrey Garth is hot on her tail, basically.
Right.
Yeah. And they know it's a trap, so he's like, that's a terrible idea. He shouldn't have done that, because obviously he'll fail. So, yeah.
So they're asking, hey, give me a plane to Paris. The police escort. He's like, well, what are you standing there for? Get this stuff. He's like, we got to find Jeffrey. He said, and break the news as gently as possible. So they said, this just came in. He opens up the telegram, I guess it is, or letter, and it says, hey, you basically, we got some good news. It said there was a chartered plane leaving for Transylvania. We'll keep in touch, Jeffrey Garth. So, you got to stop him. Van Helsing's very adamant, hey, you got to stop him. He's going to go straight to his death. He doesn't know how to handle this on his own. She's going to end up killing him. And so he's flying in the plane, but the plane's already taken off. And I like this. They're trying to find the spotlight, shining on him and all that. But I'm sure he probably played a handsome reward for them to fly him over there to Transylvania.
Basically bribed him, to like, okay, I need to get there because I need to rescue Janet.
Right. So now you can also see the love that he has for Janet, even though she's a complete meanie to him.
Dang it, Janet. I love you.
Little Rocky Horror Picture Show. I wonder how many people will get that. So now we're back in, I guess, at the bottom of Dracula's Hill, where he's been gone. They're having weddings and parties, and the castle can still be seen in the background, which is really cool. And he's like, that was funny right there. He's like, hey, it's been a great wedding day. And he's like, and soon it will be night. I was like, you got that, boom. But, you know, the music stopped, and then all of a sudden they see a light go on in the Dracula's castle, and they're like, uh-oh. And this is really cool, where you see the crypt, the coffin open up again, and her hand comes out. I always like it when the vampires do that. I think it looks really cool. And, you know, just the creaking of the coffin and all that.
It really brings out the whole creature mystique of, like, how inhumanly it just kind of crawls out of the coffin.
Right. And then you hear the coffin, So now it does a little thing where you hear the coffin, it fades back, and then she's standing there outside of the coffin, still dressed in black. I think she's now accepted a role. Like, look, the light comes on, and all the people are like, oh no, the castle! They're all like,
Dracula's back! No!
They all think Dracula has come back. The lights come on, and they're running through this wedding. They're barring the doors, and here comes this carriage. And it is... Garth is actually made here. He's like, hey, look, the light came on in Dracula's castle.
Yeah. What a coincidence.
And Garth hops out of the back of the carriage. He's like, what is this? The end. He's like, this is the end. He's like, this is as far as we go. And he's like, what, the vampire? And he's like, she walks tonight with her on hollow fire. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, let's get going. He's like, you're just in time. You got a few minutes. The doors will be barred until daylight. He's like, I'll tell you what. I'll give you £5 if you take me to Borgo Pass. You don't have to go any further than that.
That's like $2 billion.
He's like, just Borgo's Pass? He's like, yeah. He's like, here you go. And he's like, I'll ride in the front seat to keep you company, basically.
Yeah.
He says, you'll take care of my bags, right? I'm sure he might not need them. If he dies, he dies. And the gypsy lady's like, he's mad.
Gotta recognize it's the one-way trip.
Yep. He might not be coming back.
Exactly. Yeah. So Janet is in kind of like a tranquilized state, basically, from the vampires and Sandor. So moving on forward.
But see, I think she's been hypnotized, but I don't think she's been bitten yet.
No.
It's just a trap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just purely a catch and release scenario.
So she's like, hey, release. She's like, yeah, I don't know that's possible now. Basically, what I'm going to do is his life in exchange for hers. He can stay here, or it'll be his death. You know, or he can have life eternal with me.
Yeah. I think her whole idea...
So here he says, have you not forgotten, punished that I was to have eternal life? This is death for Garth if he comes here. Death, not life. So basically, Sandor's like, hey, you promised me this eternal life, and he's like, so now Sandor's kind of miffed at her, mad at her, because look, I see what you did there. You double crossed me too, and so he's really mad. So
yeah,
Garth,
it's unclear if this is kind of like a thing where like she can only do it to one other person, or like if she can actually give the dark gift of vampirism to another person, like if she can only do it once or if she can do it multiple times. So maybe that's what they're kind of implying here.
Yeah, I don't know. This is I'll have you read the short story by Bram Stoker and let us know.
I'll get right on that.
After Ben-Hur, right?
Yeah.
So she's over there looking at her, and this is really weird too, because Sandor goes up there with a bow and arrow, and he starts shooting down at Garth, and he's like, oh, you got somebody shooting at me with a bow and arrow. He misses completely, as most bad guys do.
Yeah.
So this, she's
no Hawkeye.
She's about ready to go bite her. Now look at this giant spider web.
I know.
I was
amazing.
like, what kind of spider made that? So there's Sandor, and he's got his gun out. Garth's got his gun out. But that spider web is impressive.
It is beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. So I think she's getting ready to go for the bite. You know what I mean? She can't hold off anymore. Yeah. He shoots a gun, and it stops her.
It's like, oh, Garth's here. Yay. Hey. Now I can bite him. Oh, women.
So here we go again. Here she comes out of the door. She's like, oh, you made it, basically. And he's like, where is Janet? Is she hurt? She's like, well, so far she's safe.
Yeah, for the moment.
He's like, if you've harmed her, he's like, look, You're not in London now. You're not with your police, Garth. You're in Transylvania, which is in my home turf, basically my castle.
Exactly. Like, you're in my hood. You pay respect.
She says, he's like, get out of my way. I need to go see her. She said, very well, go on in. And now the police have arrived, which they got a pretty quick charter there themselves.
Right on the tail. Literally.
Yeah. So they go bang on the inn. And they said, hey.
Like, what's going on up here? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to ascertain the information of what's going on.
Like, hey, we need to go up to the castle,
Yeah. Anyways, Garth just finds Janet sitting on the bed, basically in the hypnotized state, and trying to get her basically back awake and seeing how okay she is. And
but she says it's not hypnosis. She says it's something older and more powerful. He's like, well, whatever it is, I'll get it out of her. He's like the other one that died, you bring her out of this, she's going to die, basically.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really... So she knew that he would try to wake her up.
Yeah, his science can't trump her dark magic.
So she said, look, her pulse is growing weak. Your skill's not going to be in view. She's under a spell that can only be broken only by me or death. So basically, either I can break it or she dies. That's the two ways out.
That's the bargain.
So you see she's helpless, and she lies there dying right before you. And he's like, she's not dying. I won't let her die, Janet. So he's got her hands in her head, and she's like, the Countess is like, your life for hers. And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, look, you remain here with me. You...
Yeah, so you haven't figured it out yet. You're the prize. Of the idea.
She's like, one as dead as yourself, only like I can make you. And he's like, you're insane. And she's like, insane? To offer you eternal life, I'm insane? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't believe in your spells and your stupid magic. And he's like, then let science save her, or what? Or you agree to remain here with me forever.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, man. So if I do this and I try to wake her up and she dies... then she'll die, and I'll still be stuck here anyway. You know what I mean? So either way, he's coming to the realization.
It's a lose-lose scenario.
And I'm not so sure if he would have stayed, if they wouldn't have killed her anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, at some point. Yeah, it's just danged if you do, danged if you don't.
And here we go. So he's like, all right, release her. Mm-hmm. And now you see Sandor. He's up like on a ledge with a bow and arrow, and he shoots this arrow, and I don't know how it possibly hit her from that angle. And it goes right past him and hits the Countess right in the heart. Mm-hmm. What a shot.
Yeah.
He couldn't hit her. He couldn't hit the guy when nobody was looking from the top.
Clearly a Hanzo man. Yeah.
So she stumbles out to the balcony and she just dies. And now you see Janice starting to roam around, like starting to wake up. And Sandor goes to aim an arrow to hit this one, and he gets
shot in the back. Or in the chest, actually. I think in the chest.
From the Scotland Yard guy with the stripes. Right.
Yeah.
So Van Helsing and the Scotland Yard guy walk in there, and Janet is starting to wake up. And this is funny because Van Helsing's like, hey, where's Countess Zaleska? He's like, she's out there. So Van Helsing runs out there. And he's like, Janet, open your eyes, And basically he wakes her up.
To the power of his love.
Yeah. Give me a break. And, she's like, Jeffrey, So here he goes. He's like, there's your vampire, Basil. The arrow, a wooden shaft through her heart, just as I drove the stake through his, which is, of course, Dracula. He's like, Basil says, the woman is beautiful. Basil says she was beautiful when she died 100 years ago. Okay, and so it says there, and you just say, and that's the end of the movie. Now, Kyle, my question to you before we dive into some notes is this. If, at the beginning of the movie, Van Helsing said that that he killed Dracula and that he presumed that he was over 500 years old.
Yes.
They just said that the Dracula's daughter was 100 years old.
Yes.
Vampires can't have babies.
So,
you see what I'm saying?
Well, it can be an adoptive daughter still of technically I have given her the dark gift. She is now my daughter in a spiritual form because she is not my lover. So that could be the sense of the transitive property at that point. So I can still understand that. But so that is a little bit weird to say like, oh, she's my daughter, but it also is like adoptive daughter is also just as valid, I think, in the vampire case, because like essentially anyone you turn into a vampire is by kind of extension your sibling at that point to some degree. Some kind of
your sibling, yes, but not your daughter, son.
Well, if you consider like one vampire turning a human into another as growing their family, then essentially you just you set those roles as you choose. It's the family as you make it at that point, where like you decide as I turn this person, will I treat them as my daughter? Will I treat them as my lover?
So are you saying that if Dracula's daughter would have, let's say Lily, if she would have turned Lily, would that have been Dracula's granddaughter then? Or would it just still been Dracula's daughter since it's still him?
If Dracula was alive, he would decide that for himself, I believe. He would decide as an extension of his own family or some point. So, yes.
Well, let me ask you this question then, too. Mm-hmm. If, when Dracula's daughter died, Zaleska died, did the Dracula curse stop there? Or is his spirit still out there roaming?
I would obviously never say never, because there's always the possibility that there's other kind of Dracula kind of spawns running around. You never know.
Well, I'm sure there is once we get into them, but I just didn't know if you could draw from this conclusion. I think that you can tell that she got released because she died from this movie, but other than that. So let's talk a little bit about some stuff in this movie. The Bela Lugosi's Dracula corpse was actually a waxwork in this movie because he wanted a lot of money to appear in this movie, and they weren't going to pay that, so...
Yeah, and that's kind of thing is standard fare of how like negotiations go, because like either you're going to ask for a lot of money, and like if you don't have a plan for a big role for him, then it's not worth paying that. So either you
even when he's only in the movie for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's only in the movie for like if it was like a substantial role, it would be worth paying him that kind of money. But if it's just for like a walk-on thing, well, it's just not worth it for either party. So they just do a wax model instead. They do that many times before, like in Rhodes and Iron Man 2. Like it's just like he's still a minor role, so you can't pay him that much more money for it.
This was completed for $278,000, and it was also one of Universal's most expensive productions of the 1930s.
I'm sure it's made money back by now, hopefully.
But it's kind of weird that saying that was the most expensive one when you had stuff like Frankenstein and all that with all that elaborate equipment and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially since this was filmed in like just over a month and stuff like that too. Like
that's really crazy.
Thing.
Let's see here. Originally Universal wanted to make a sequel based on Bram Stoker's short story Dracula's Guest and negotiated with Stoker's widow Florence. During the talks between the two, it was discovered that Bram Stoker had not complied with one requirement of the U.S. Copyright Office with his novel Dracula, which rendered it public domain in the United States. Because Florence wanted more creative control over the sequel and Bela Lugosi wanted more money to reprise the role of Count Dracula, Universal instead hired John L. Benderston to write a new story.
Kind of dirty and underhanded, but also understand that's
public domain gets them every time, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I respect public domain. I like when things get into public domain. That's good. But still, kind of sucks when people responsible don't get money.
Right. Yeah. Initially, Bela Lugosi and Jane Wyatt were set to star in the film. Universal also announced that Boris Karloff and Colin Clive, who had starred together in Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein, would appear. Then Cesar Romero, also known as the Joker from the 1960s Batman, would play Dr. Garth.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Everyone always knew crossover sell, man.
This is the last horror film produced under the supervision of Carl Laemmle. 4 days after production wrapped, Universal's principal creditor, Standard Capital Corporation, seized control of the studio, and the Laemmle family, including patriarch Carl Laemmle, who had founded the studios, were unceremoniously kicked out. So there's a lot of stuff following this post-production. Director Lambert Hillier was injured on the 9th day of production, according to the publicity Friday the 13th, when a freestanding fill light toppled onto his head.
Ooh, that
nearly
could have been rough.
Half a day of shooting was lost when he was briefly hospitalized. However, film started February 4, 1936 and finished March 10, 1936, and there was a Thursday the 13th, but no Friday the 13th during that time frame, so there's a little bit of... but still, to have that fall on your head and only lose a few hours of shooting.
Yeah, like they didn't die. Those things could be, things are heavy. It's like, at least 20, 40 pounds around there,
Originally, Jane Wyatt, we said, was cast as Lily, who played the little homeless girl, if you will. However, Universal presumably cast Nan Gray because she was a blonde, giving contrast to the leading lady, Gloria Holden. Movie producers, especially in the golden age of Hollywood, preferred that actresses have two different colors of hair when a villainess is involved. to give distinct contrasts, light and dark, good, bad. And of course, Wyatt was always a brunette. So,
and especially like the lower quality film at the time, it makes it much easier to distinguish which character is which.
Right, especially when they use different color of clothing and all that too.
Yeah, yeah.
This was originally to be another project for director James Well. The script he submitted was so outrageous, in various senses of the word, that he was taken off the project. A sizable list of writers submitted treatments and scripts.
I would love to read what that outrageous script would be nowadays. What did they consider outrageous at the time?
And we're going to throw this in there, and I'm not going to dwell on it, but
Okay,
I'm just going to mention it. Dracula's Daughter contains a scene which was deemed rather suggestive for the time. When the homeless young lady is invited back to the rooms of the undead countless, there is a hint of lesbianism. Take it what you will. I didn't really get that out of it, but I can see where people draw that conclusion, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing much to add. Okay,
Yeah.
sure. If you want to read that,
people can read a lot of stuff into different movies and add what they want to add based upon what they see, and it might not have been what was portrayed at the time.
If this were like a real classic, seminal classic film, I would be interested in like trying to view its cultural impact today and what significant parts it actually had to say about lesbianism or LGBTQ rights, all these kind of things. But as it stands, like, it's not that kind of film. It never was trying to be, and it hasn't like stood the test of time to be that kind of film,
right,
culturally speaking. So I'm not really interested in diving into it like that.
Right.
So that's just my personal taste. But like to those who will. Go for it.
And as Forrest Gump said, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Top echelon director A. Edward Sutherland was assigned to direct after James Well left the project. His contract contained an unusual pay or play clause, and he earned $17,500 for his involvement in the production. Because of indeterminable production delays, Sutherland moved on to another project before shooting began. His replacement, Lambert Hillier, who had directly mostly B westerns, earned just $5,000 for directing this film.
Well, for the time, still pretty good money.
Right. Dracula's Guest was written in a chapter in the 1897 novel Dracula, but exercised due to the novel's length. It was first published in 1914, 2 years after Stoker's death. Other elements are based loose on the 1872 short story Carmelia by Sheridan Le Fanu. And I told you this one earlier, off mic, before we started recording. At 53 years old, Edward Van Sloan was only 3 years older than Otto Kruger, which is crazy if you look at it.
Yeah, it's hilarious to see.
This is part of the original Shock Theater package of 52 Universal titles released to television in 1957. Followed a year later with Son of Shock, which added 20 more features. Despite Bela Lugosi's not appearing in the film, there are some existing photos of him and Gloria Holden on the set during production. So that's really cool. This includes a special feature bonus feature film in the DVD box set of Dracula: The Legacy Collection, which was released in 2004 and which we mentioned in the awards at the beginning. So here we go. This was the sequel to Dracula, direct sequel, in which there was no indication in either film that Dracula was married. So where has the daughter come from? Which Kyle kind of touched on it. Where if he turned her, he could say, "Hey, this is my daughter."
This is my daughter in my sense. Like,
I guess I can say that, but I think when everybody says Dracula's daughter, they automatically think
some kind of birth or something. Right. I understand that too.
So, Kyle, what do you think of your first Universal horror monster movie in this series that you're doing with me?
This is fine. It's neither great nor bad. At a certain point, like if they just have like a single Dracula extended cut and they just cut the sequel Dracula's Daughter into this movie, I might watch the whole thing through, because that'd be like a full movie length nowadays at this point. Right. So I could probably watch it all the way through like that. But as it stands alone, it's not much more interesting. It doesn't really add much more to the Dracula universe as for the Universal Monsters repertoire, if you were. And so it's kind of passable, but if you enjoyed Dracula, the first movie, this movie is, it's passable. You're not going to be. I don't think it's offended. I'm not offended by the memory of the original Dracula by watching this film. It's not bad by that sense. So overall, you can watch it, but it's you can also pass just as easily. So that's how I kind of feel about the film overall.
Right.
How do you feel, Jimbo?
Well, when you think of Universal Monsters, you always think of a monster on the loose, scaring people, maybe some attacking a village / some sort of final confrontation. And with this movie, you don't get this. What this movie did is I think it tried to ride the coattails of the original Dracula of popularity, and then basically you see, in Frankenstein, you see human characteristics in the monster. He sometimes you can tell he's what's right, what's wrong. He's kind of has feelings, blah blah blah. With this one, you have it from the other side, like, hey, I want out of this. I want to go back to being human. I don't know if it ever really states that she could sense what she was before she was Dracula's daughter.
Yeah.
Like what kind of life did she live? She said she was from Hungary, but you don't really know what her life was. But she's struggling to get. She doesn't want to be part of this Dracula's curse, but she's cursed to be the Dracula's curse. So she's in this bloodline now, and she just doesn't want to be part of it. And basically, she gets her redemption by actually dying in this movie, so she is technically free from the curse now.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect of it. I love the police guys at the very beginning of the movie that are watching the coffins. Is some comedy gold there. The one guy's facial expressions, it's just funny. It kind of reminds me of Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello, them two at the beginning.
Yeah, a step just before slapstick, kind of. Yeah.
Right. I thought they did a great job. Janet was annoying, I think.
Yeah, agreed. I already
I don't understand about the phone call and all that. So I mean, that was just childish. I think what's her name?
Marie Zaleska.
Zaleska.
Yeah.
I think she was outstanding. She was a beautiful lady for the role. Her eyes just went on forever.
And a really captivating performance. Like, you kind of like really believe that she is a
vampire. I was like,
yeah, and that she has that internal struggle or like hesitance to not want to be a vampire. And you can see
her facial expressions make her in this movie too, because there's times when, especially when Lila's there, like she's struggling, like, hey, oh, your hands are cold, you need to go warm those up, you know what I mean? So she's struggling with, like, I don't want to do this, but hey, I don't want you to be cold, but if I warm your blood up, it's going to taste better. She likes hot meals instead of cold meals, right?
Yeah. But she has a terrific way of showing the constrained emotion on her face, and the conflict within her does a really great job. So it's one of those things where like man, I kind of wish like better camera equipment for the time could be shown to see how like she did an excellent job for her role, even if her role herself wasn't that well written.
Well, and then that's what you see a lot of these times in these older movies is they have to act by their facial expressions when things are happening to them. Like there's the part where, if you remember in the movie where he's got the hypnotic thing out and he's like, oh, the mirrors. And she's like, no, her eyes just light up like, no, we ain't doing this. It ain't going to work. This ain't no time for experiments, doctor. Mm-hmm. So if you're a fan of Universal Monsters, I at least watch it once. But don't go in expecting that it's going to be another Invisible Man or Frankenstein or Dracula. But even though watch Dracula first, then go right into this movie, it might make a lot more sense.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's some things like they say it goes right after Dracula, but some of the body, like Renfro's and all that, are placed in different areas. You know what I mean? So
that's the thing. I think you can almost you could probably cut these two movies together, but you can't necessarily have one end and then just begin on the next one. You have to kind of cut that. You have to cut a little bit of the ending off and then start a little bit of the ending in there, if you know what I mean.
Right.
It's a complicated edit,
right?
But still achievable, I think.
Which they probably use some of the same
undoubtedly, because they're always worth the time
there too. So
yeah.
Well, that's it for our first episode of the Universal Monster Stories or series this time around. So I think this episode's coming to close, and that's a wrap. And Kyle?
And cut.